Hey guys, Drew Weaver here. Welcome to tonight's training. I played college golf at Virginia Tech, turned professional after college, and now I'm playing on the Web.com tour. The journey to collegiate and professional golf has been a life-changing experience for me. Josh is going to get into some of my story in this audio training. So just as you take your swing instructor's advice serious, I hope that you do the same here. So get ready to take a few notes. You'll get out of this what you put into it, so I hope you treat this as something that will change the direction of your golf career and your future. Hope you enjoy the training.
Hey guys, Josh Spell here. I'm the founder of Achievers Training System. Want to welcome everybody to tonight's training session. I'm pretty excited to be able to do this. This is the first of a 5-pack audio training bundle that you're going to be listening to, and I want to say thank you for looking into this. Here's what it shows. It shows that you're somebody that's dedicated and serious about hopefully not just your golf game, but your entire life and what's going to be going on in your future, okay? Achievers is dedicated to providing training that will not just help you in your junior and collegiate golf career, but also is going to help you in all areas of your life. And, we're going to be able to help build an incredible future in your life. So starting this company has been an absolute dream come true for me. It started with me interviewing about 40 college players over the course of this year. Most of those guys are D1, fantastic, really good players. I also interviewed 15 college coaches. Got to know a lot of the leaders in junior golf here in North Carolina with the TYGA, who are phenomenal. That's a phenomenal program and organization that introduces kids to the game of golf, to competitive golf, really. TGF, the CGA with Jason Cox. You know what? If you don't really know where we stand, it's important to know that North Carolina is one of the top 5 areas across the entire country, North and South Carolina, that's bringing in junior golf. And Jason Cox is a guy that we all kind of owe a debt of gratitude to for what he does with setting tournaments up. There's been college coach after college coach I've talked to, guys, that all say that, the players coming out of North and South Carolina right now, they're set apart from others because of how much better prepared they are in the CGA majors that Jason has kind of set up for everybody. So, you know what? It's cool to be able to meet those guys. With meeting all of you players, here's what I want to say. I get to talk to and work with some of the most wonderful, brightest, most committed players I've ever met in my life. You guys are absolutely smoking this thing, man. You're chasing your dream. You're after goals. You want to be a success in junior golf and in college golf. For me to be able to provide this kind of training to all of you is an absolute dream come true for me. If you're receiving this audio, here's the 3 types of people that's really receiving tonight's audio training, okay? A lot of you have already signed your national letter of intent, so you already know where you're going to be playing in college. You're going to be learning a lot from Drew Weaver's story tonight. We're going to get into his background here in a second, but there's also a group of you guys, who you're still in the recruiting process. You haven't signed on with the college. You're starting to get some feedback from coaches who are interested in you, and that's nice. Then there's the last group, which is some of the younger guys that I know that's going to be getting tonight's training session. Maybe you're not fully engaged in the recruiting process yet, but here's the deal. You're either a freshman or a sophomore, maybe a junior, and you're starting to show signs at an early age that you really have the desire to succeed in golf. And so just want to say, here's what I want to say to you guys, especially y'all that have already signed your national letter of intent. Congratulations, okay? You've done something pretty cool with your life. You've done something that most others will not get to do in golf. Doesn't matter if it's D1, D3, whatever you're doing. Here's a public statistic you can look up on NCAA.com. NCAA.com shows that 5.9% of all high school players go on to make it to some form and some level of college golf. 5.9%. So I just want to say congratulations to you guys. And it shows that, you know what? Listening to this tonight shows that you're coachable. Shows that you're willing to seek out advice and training from an expert, just like many of you are already working with a swing coach. I'm here to teach you guys a certain set of success principles that anybody can learn, and those of you who follow the patterns of success that we teach here with Achievers, you're going to be winning more often and bigger than other people who aren't listening to this training and who don't apply this. Okay? One thing that I've learned from being around dozens of really successful people is that they are all strong advocates of personal development. That's what we're all about here. That's what the books that I recommend, those of you that work with me one-on-one, you know that I'm a book recommendation machine, okay? There's a secret to success there, right? And so wherever this audio is finding you guys, maybe you're on the road to your next tournament, maybe you're in the middle of firing up your next practice session at your home course. I just want to say thanks for checking this out. To me, here's the deal, okay? Personal growth, working on yourself. Personal growth comes from seminars. It comes from books. It comes from audio trainings like this. It didn't really make a whole lot of sense to me for the people who were successful. Like, I kind of thought like this. I was like, geez, I mean, you do all the work and it's not like you need more training once you become successful, is it? And here's what I found out is it's actually the opposite. That's actually true. And the more that you accomplish in your golf career, or in any career for that matter, okay, the sharper that your focus is going to need to be. The Bible teaches it like this: to whom much is given, much is required. Meaning that if you have a big dream on the inside, okay, if you're wanting to do something significant, something great with your life, which I think everybody should do, you're going to have to learn how to change from the inside out. You're going to have to be big on the inside before you ever become big on the outside. That's what we're going to be offering tonight. But that when you become more and more successful at something, just like you guys are right now in junior golf, that more will be required of you. And it's not just in your practicing and playing, but it's also in your attitude and your thinking. What are some areas right now that you know that you could probably start working on a little bit more that have nothing to do with swinging the golf club? These are things like maturity, right? These are things like attitude, like having proper expectations. How about this? How about having a real vision for where you want to take your game? See, if your vision is this: I want to play golf in college, or for those of you that know that you want to play professionally, I want to play professionally, that's not good enough, okay? And I'm not here to say you got to be the number one player in the world. That's not what I mean by having a real vision. Having a real vision, for those of you that just know that you want to play in college golf, okay, well, what kind of grades do you want to have when you get there? Are we going to be an academic All-American? Are we going to be an athletic All-American? Okay, you want to start looking into these things, right? If you want to play golf in college, you should aim to be the number one player on that future college team. Period. And so, you know, that's part of having a real vision. There's an audio in this bundle where we cover what it takes to have a real vision and why that's important in your entire future, okay? So you can become a more talented player in golf, right? But if your maturity doesn't increase along with your game, or your attitude doesn't really get better when your game does, what do you think will happen to what do you think the long-term effects are on your golf game? So here's an example. You're playing around, okay, you've gotten better, you've gotten 2 strokes better than you were 6 months ago, okay? But you make a double bogey here and there, and then when you do that, you follow that up with 2 bogeys or another big hole, a double or a triple, that you normally would not have made, okay? Question, is that a function of your talent, or is that a function of your maturity and your mental game? That's a function of that second part, right? See, that's how important the mental game is. Have you ever thought about how long it takes you to shave a stroke or two? Those of you that are highly developed players that are going to be playing in college, you know at this point it takes a good 6 to 12 months to lower your handicap, maybe 1.5 strokes. How cool is it that if we're running into mistakes in a mental game, and let's say it's 1 out of 3, rounds where you have that bogey, mistake just because of your mental game, that's going to significantly lower your handicap just from working on your mental game a little bit. I've had players who are more talented than all of you tell me something like this. They told me this. They said, Josh, I'm simply not worried about my maturity right now because it's just going to take care of itself with time. And that is so far beyond, that's so far from the truth. I could show you guys adult after adult, okay, who are absolutely ruled by immaturity and their own insecurities. And they're 25, they're 30, 35 years old. If you don't think that you have to do some work to become more mature, then you're greatly mistaken, okay? Maturity does not always come with age. sometimes age comes along. I want to bring this to the surface and start talking about this so you guys can start looking for ways to get better here, okay? One way that we can get better in handling our maturity and handling bad mistakes on the course is by looking at how you react to these mistakes. Let me ask you a question. Are there more talented players than you right now at your age? No doubt. Doesn't matter what level you're at. You might have a couple close around you. Some of you might be the best player at your home course and on your high school team, and you're kind of content with that, okay? But I'm here to tell you that if you decide to get your mind right and your character, there's other players across other states that are just as good, if not better than you are. But if you're working on your mental game, and your attitude, and you get this stuff going faster than what those other players are doing, here's a tip. That's how you're going to be able to make up lost ground on them. Not only can you make up lost ground in your everyday practice, but if you do that and combine that with your mental game, you're going to be a dual threat, dangerous player as far as making up ground on your competition. So think about this in your own career for a second. It's good to have weekly practice schedules, and you've probably increased the amount of time that you're working on your game, let's say from freshman in high school to now you're a junior or a senior. You guys are getting after it. It's probably gotten more and more each year, right? That's the nature of junior golf. A lot of you guys are 25, 30, 35 hours a week really working on your game in the in prime time season, right? I know it's maybe not as much whenever it's wintertime, but here's a tip. The more that you work on your game, the easier it is to just go through the motions. Have you ever thought about that? Like, the easier it is to just breeze through 3 or 4 days of practice when you're working on things 4 and 5 hours a day. How can you learn to get more out of your practice that you're doing? This is your mental game. And here's one thing that you can do. Start taking about 10 minutes of notes at the end of your practice. A lot of mental coaches call this journaling. And see, what happens is when you work on things, and this could be on just a practice day at the driving range. This could be when you're hitting range balls and you go out and play 9 holes. This could be notes after you play a tournament round when everything's on the line. Okay? What happens is you work on things and it takes some time to get back to that previous day's work. So there's a lot that goes on that you're learning in a practice session. When you finally make a click or something, it's easy to sit there and then maybe after a week you forget what it was. You want to start recording some notes at the end of your practices so that way you can go back and review it the very next day. That's powerful, guys. You want to learn how to get better faster. This is taking too long to get good at golf. If you want to start accelerating through this process faster, start taking notes at the end of your practice, and that will bring you back precisely where you were the previous day. And if you do that over and over again, you're going to get through your work habits and you're going to work through lowering your handicap much, much faster than you ever have before, and much faster than other players who don't journal. Also, you'll be able to collect a database of information that you can go directly to. Let's say if your game stalls or you fall backwards and it's like you put in 6 to 8 months of work. Well, you can go right back through your notes, and it doesn't take you too long to do this, maybe over a day or two, and you can go right back to where you see, okay, I saw a problem here and I know how to fix it now, all because you were taking notes on your practice and your playing. So that's one quick tip. Honestly, that one tip is good enough for this entire training. I'm being serious about that. There's mental coaches that charge literally thousands of dollars to teach their players to do what I just told you. So that's an excellent start to work on your mental game, to take notes after your practice and playing. And here's for many of you guys listening to this is the first time that you're really being exposed to some form of mentorship or mental coaching. Personally, I like to consider myself more of a mentor than a mental coach, but all this kind of falls under the same umbrella of coaching that's different from your swing instruction. But we're going to shake some things up tonight, okay? I may share a few stories with the power of personal development and how having the right attitude can change your game and in your and also it can change your life. So let's start off with a question here, and I just want y'all to know the standard of what I teach things at, okay? And the importance of top performers hearing this kind of training. If you had an opportunity to play high school football, okay, and your coach at the first day of practice, he kind of introduces himself and he goes something like this: "Hey guys, our goal this season, is for everybody to go out and just have a great time on the team, okay? I'm not gonna I'm not going to work anybody too hard, okay? I mean, we're going to have a good time. I don't want anybody to get hurt or too tired in practice. And then if it rains, listen, guys, I know some of the refs, and I know that they don't really want to have the rain games, so we'll just probably cancel our practices if it rains. And then, we're just going to go out and play. And if we don't win a lot, it's okay because at least we're having fun. Okay, that's the first coach, right? Or you had a second coach, and he starts off the first day of practice like this. Hey, guys, my name's Coach Spell. I'm here to work your butts off. Okay, you're going to be working harder than you've ever worked before. And then when it rains, we're going to be having two-a-days because you guys are going to become stronger. You're going to be tougher than you've ever been before in your life. And we're going to be doing a lot of drills. And when we get done with those drills, I'm going to find harder drills for you to do. And we're going to do those things again and again and again. And nobody is going to be able to score against you this year. And for many of you at the end of the season, after we've won everything, it will be the first time that you've ever been a champion in your life. And you have separated yourself from the pack and from everybody else in the league. And the reason that you'll know that is because you'll be holding the trophy that everybody else wanted to hold. And you'll be holding that trophy because you did all the little things that nobody else in the league was willing to do. Now, question, how many of y'all want to play for that second coach? Me too. You know why? Because top performers want to be coached at the highest level. Winners want to have the best brought out in them. I'm not here to play games. I'm not here to waste you guys' time for the next 25 minutes on this training audio. Let's bring this to golf, okay? I train guys with the expectation that y'all want to be the number one player of your future college team. That's going to pay off for any career that you choose after that. If you have something like that on your resume, the main thing is I care about the type of person that you become from here until you graduate college, okay? And it's not just on the golf course. But you guys are going to hear people tell you, it's hard to do that. It's hard to be number one. You're not talented enough. Blah, 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 blah. And they know nothing about success. And here's a tip. If you take advice from people that don't know anything about success, you get what you deserve, okay? I'm here to tell you guys the 100% pure truth of what it takes to have mental toughness and to have the right attitude and how to have the guts to ask for the impossible to happen in your lives. And I'm glad I'm able to coach you guys with this in your golf game. But I'm telling you, I want y'all to win at this in every area of your life. In your golf game, in your mental game, in your grades. Okay? This sort of thing will bleed over into dating. I know what age group I'm talking to right here. You guys are starting to date and have girlfriends. Let me ask you a question. Do you think a girl wants a guy that makes a lot of excuses, that doesn't do a lot of, what he says he's going to do? Or do you think a girl wants to be with somebody that follows through on the things that he says and that is an upstanding and responsible person? Kind of more of that part, right? Well, gosh, I didn't know I was going to get dating advice. I know that was free, but actually this does help your golf game because when you get to college, if you have a relationship with a girl that's rocky and that kind of has a lot of problems attached to it, is that going to have a negative or a positive impact on your golf game? If you already like a girl right now, it probably takes up a lot of your time thinking about that girl. Now, if you have a really good relationship when you're in college, is that going to help or hurt your golf game? That's going to help your golf game if you know how to manage that. I'm telling you, it's little things like this that help make or break a successful career in golf. And if we're going to talk about having a successful career in golf, we're going to talk about a stellar, you want to study somebody that absolutely just had an amazing golf career in their college golf career. You will not find a better example than that of a guy named Drew Weaver. And the cool part is Drew is here from North Carolina. Drew is a professional golfer on the Web.com tour. He grew up playing his junior golf here in North Carolina. He started in High Point, North Carolina before he started, going across the state and then eventually to national events. Drew ended up getting recruited by Virginia Tech. He played all 4 years there. They offered him a scholarship. He accepted that. He was thrilled out of his mind. You know what, guys? He was once a junior golfer just like you are. Drew Weaver sat in your seat. But he had some pretty cool moments in his college golf career. He made the winning putt for his team to win the ACC tournament his senior year. How cool is that? First off, how cool is it even just to get into a school like that and then to find yourself in the middle of playing in the ACC championship, right? How cool is it to get into that and then make the winning putt for your team to win? I've talked to several college players that have, those 40 players I interviewed, I've talked to several guys that have been a part of a winning ACC tournament championship team. And they said it's a blast. It's like you get back to your school, everybody wants to play golf all of a sudden. And it's like people are shaking your hand. You get off the bus and people are there to just kind of meet you. It's a win that the entire team takes in. It's nothing like anything else in golf. The parents are a part of it. That's been a part of the team for years. All the coaches are. That's just one thing that Drew was able to accomplish in his 4-year career as a Hokie. So the other thing is, y'all know how in the States we have what's called the U.S. Amateur, correct? This is one of Tiger Woods' favorite records, is winning the U.S. Am 3 consecutive times. Well, there are 2 leading tournaments for amateur golf around the world. One is the U.S. Am, and then the other is the British Amateur. The British Amateur has a much wider international representation of 34 golf federations, with players coming from 6 different continents to compete in this tournament. This year's Masters winner, Sergio Garcia, won this event back in 1998. Drew Weaver was the 2007 British Amateur champion. He did that when he was in college. He also played in the Masters the following year and the British Open, all while in college. Why do I say all this? Because Drew Weaver knows a thing or two about championship golf at the highest level. Okay? The average PGA Tour and professional never plays in a major championship. Drew has played in 3 majors, 2 of which while he was in college. And so that's why I want to select him for somebody that we're going to study. He also played in the Walker Cup team with Ricky Fowler. Tons of credibility there. We're going to talk about, I just want to kind of describe his personality a little bit to you. This plays a part in how you guys play in your tournaments. Have you ever watched like a really cool James Bond movie? Like I might be a decade out of date for this group. I don't know what y'all watch nowadays. Maybe some, I don't know, Spider-Man 47 is what you guys like to watch. But James Bond is the epitome of cool, okay? Doesn't try to be, he just is. This is Drew Weaver on and off the golf course. It's like he has this intimidating look about him, but he is a nice guy, but he brings a ton of fire to his game. He doesn't hold his emotions back. He learned how to control his emotions as a junior player. But when he's playing bad, and you just kind of, I've watched his career for years now, in between holes, he's just kind of standing there chilling. You know, he could be in the lock heat of battle, and he's just chilling there with his hands behind his back. Other tour players are turning and talking to him. They want to hear what he's talking about. They just like being in conversation with him. By the way, you know somebody's influential whenever you have everybody else looking at you wanting to talk to you. That's a whole nother topic. But this is Drew. I was watching him at... he was playing in an e-golf event, which was a mini tour that was based out of Charlotte, North Carolina. This event was at Willow Creek, which was Drew Weaver's home course. This is important. I'm going to get back to this. I saw him bogey 2 of his first 3 holes at Willow Creek. Keep in mind, Drew was at this point an accomplished professional golfer. This is after college. He's playing mini tour golf. He's playing a course, his home course, that he has forgotten how many sub-67s he shot. He can't remember how many 65s he shot. And his wife is with him for this tournament. And here's what happened. He made the second bogey in his first 3 holes. And they're walking across the road to this next hole. He's smiling. He's like flirting with his wife. Like they're on their second date, for crying out loud. This guy is like walking up to the tee box. And he was literally smiling as he hit his next drive. And then, like, he blitzes his drive, then off that happy couple goes again, and he's just playing golf. Beautiful wife is sitting there watching this go down, supporting her husband. And I'm sitting here thinking, this dude just bogeyed 2 holes that he has probably birdied 19,000 times before in his career. Okay, he's a this is a professional tournament, so this matters, and it's on his home course. But when he kept playing the game of golf, I mean, it just looked like this guy was having the time of his life when he was playing this tournament. How many times do I watch a junior player and junior players lose their cool? You guys have seen this on a single bad hole on a course that they know nothing about. I've talked to players who have told me things like, Josh, if I still make bogeys at my home track that I've played 400 times before, I'm never going to be a top player. Folks, that is absolutely ridiculous, okay? If you want to learn how to play golf with mental toughness, we're going to keep diving into Drew's story here. I just watched him play in a Web.com qualifier. This was held at Greensboro National, okay? This was for the Rex Hospital Open. I watched him play the front side. He missed two pretty short putts, so he was one over on the front side. Now, those of you that know anything about Monday qualifying in these events, either a PGA Tour event or a Web.com event, you know you have to be about 5 or 6 under in order to get one of those top spots, correct? So Drew was not going to qualify for this. He was one over through 9. Maybe we'll get it next time. Good luck next time, buddy. So I was watching him. Here's the deal. Whenever I talked to him, I told him, I was like, hey, man, I'm going to go watch Al. He's over at Grandover. He was just as nice as he could be, like he always is. Just a cool dude. He is a pro's pro in every way that you could be one. And so he keeps on to the backside. I go watch Al play. I get back to my house, and I'm checking scores when I get at the house, just for the fun of it. And I check the rest of Drew's score. Homeboy goes out to the back 9 at Greensboro National and fires 6 under on 9 holes. And what's better than that is he got into a 5-man playoff, birdied the very first hole, so off he goes to Raleigh. And I'm just like, you got to be kidding me. So I text this kid. I was like, Drew, for real, like, you saved all the fireworks again until I wasn't there. He has this knack for doing this. I'm there, he plays okay. I'm gone, he goes lights out. I probably just don't need to ever watch him play again. But anyway, I was talking to him, and here's what he said. And I wanted to save this story for this training night. He said, I just know that average or bad play is going to be a part of your career, of my career. This is Drew talking, of my career. And the sooner that I'll learn to deal with this, the sooner my career took off. And he said this, Drew said this, he said, I didn't start learning this as a professional or else I would have never become one. I started learning this when I was a junior golfer in North Carolina. Guys, it's no wonder to me why Drew Weaver is now chasing his dream of professional golf on the Web.com tour. He was the leading greens and regulation. He led greens and regulation on Web.com some this year and last year. He is a ball striking phenom. There is some talent that goes into that, but guys, there's these 9 core principles that all of you are learning right now are 9 core principles that Weaver understands and that has applied to his game to get to where he's at. It's guys like Drew Weaver, it's guys like Al Dickens who, instead of making excuses, are focusing on what's wrong every time they play a game. You know what they do? They just decide to focus on the positive. And when you do that long enough, you get better at doing it, guys. You know why y'all stop focusing on the positive sometimes? It's because, 1, it's not a habit. 2, it's not easy. It's much easier for average people to focus on negative than it is positive, but you have to make it a habit just like you do in your practice. Playing bad on his home course, no big deal. Not where he was supposed to be in the heat of battle on a Web.com qualifier, no big deal. I can tell you this, you can determine the size of a man based on the size of things that will hold him back. That's why Drew Weaver is an enormous person on the inside. And this is for when I watch junior players who give up halfway through the rounds and little things like AJGA qualifiers for the Haas Family Invitational, okay? I know some of you guys personally, I know you guys that played in that's getting this audio training. You know, that was hosted over at Holly Ridge, or some of y'all that played in you contested in the U.S. Junior Qualifier that was hosted and contested over at Salisbury Country Club, right? That's where 2 players are going to go on out of a field of about 70 or 80 players. It's very easy to play those rounds and start thinking, well, I'm 3 over through 10. Okay, I've really got to make something happen. And then you miss a short birdie putt on 11. And then you have another opportunity at 12. You play 13 a little too aggressive. And then you take yourself out of, okay, I'm 4 over through 13. 3 under is going to get through. I'm out. And then what do they do? They give up. They give up right there, okay? I'm not going to qualify. What's the point? And you start playing how you normally would not play in a tournament. Here's the point. If you start doing that right now, you're going to develop that same bad habit. That bad habit is going to carry with you and follow you in other tournaments. And that bad habit will cause havoc in your golf career. The reason Drew Weaver is capable of firing 6 under par on the back 9 when it matters the most is because when he played in tournaments that you guys are playing in right now, he never gave up. Even when he knew that he wasn't going to qualify. That's the thing. When you know that you're not going to qualify and you still stick it out, guys, you are a minority. You are somebody that most other players aren't going to play golf like that. And that's just one small change that you can make. But here's how success works. That one small weapon that you have, that's a mental weapon is what you have. You can do that over and over in tournaments, and that is going to be an ingrained habit of you just don't let up. I'm telling you, this reminds me of two people. It reminds me of Jonathan Deani, who is a professional player out of Kernersville, and it reminds me of Drew Weaver. These guys are rock stars in their mental game. And so that's just one example of what you can do. I'd like to leave you guys with another option of how to handle bad play. One of my buddies is a guy named Al Dickens IV. I found out that he was about to go play a practice round for a G-Pro event at Colonial Country Club. Now, Colonial Country Club should sound very familiar to some of you guys listening to this, because that's where the CGA's NC Junior Boy Match Play was event that was held there this past year. So I text Al. Al is on the G-Pro Tour. He's from Charlotte, North Carolina. Al Dickens IV. I like to add that in every time I say his name because it's the coolest thing ever, isn't it? The fourth. I wish I was the fourth. In fact, let's just stop right here for a second. Could you imagine being with him at like a family barbecue and it's like all of the generations of Al's are there, and you get there and you say, "Hey, Al," and then you got, "Hey, hey, hey, hey." You got four Al's saying, "Hey," back to you. I don't know. It's just kind of what I think of when I think of Al Dickens IV. Okay, so I'm playing this round with these guys. It's a practice round. And the more that I play this practice round with these guys, like I wasn't in the event, but I'm playing with some pros. I'm kind of nervous. I've never played with pros before, right? So I get out there and I got a little bit nervous, but the more I play with them, the better I felt. Like they were having fun in their practice round. And like my whole life, they were just screwing off with each other. They were just being a bunch of guys, okay? But my whole life, I thought professional golf was just this really just intense. I'm going to kill everybody at golf today. Like I had no concept of what was actually going on, right? Which I know that you want to win. But the more that I played this round of golf with these guys, it's like they were all, I don't know, friends. And so we get out to like this par 4, it's par 5, it's number 10. And Troy Beaver is on the fringe. He's about to chip. This is so funny. Jonathan Deani, so that guy I mentioned to you before. He's walking behind me to get to his ball. Troy goes to chip and totally chunks his chip. Like, it's horrendous. He's got plenty of green to work with. There's no reason for this. I'm like, oh man, I hope he doesn't feel bad. As soon as I think that, Jonathan Deani erupts in laughter behind me. Oh, Troy! He goes to this. Here's what he says. He says, "Troy, hey Troy, that was the worst chip I've ever seen in my life." Now, I didn't know this, but these two were like total best friends, okay? They both went to Elon University together. They played on the golf team there. And you got to understand Troy, nothing gets to him. He just thinks everything is funny. So the fact that Jonathan's making fun of him, he starts laughing about it. Jonathan was laughing, and then Troy was marking his ball. Jonathan was just in total stitches. Like he didn't stop laughing about everything. He hits the deck. He's rolling around. Clubs are flying, which made me start to laugh. And then Al looked at me and, they kind of go, what'd they do? They were like, "Josh, do you think this is funny?" And then I didn't want to offend anybody. I mean, they were the pros. I wasn't. I was like, "Huh?" And then, Jonathan's like, "Are you laughing at, like, are you a pro, Josh?" And I was like, "Well, no." And then Al's like, "Are you really laughing at Troy, Josh?" I was like, "Guys, no, none of this is funny." They start busting out laughing, pointing at me and everything. They totally set me up, whatever. I get to get them back at some point. But we had the time of our lives out there playing in a dumb practice round. Guys, listen, why am I telling you this, okay? Just to have some fun? Yes, because fun is part of my life, but you got to learn how to have some fun with this, okay? I'm talking about your entire career. I've seen players who are just so doggone intense nonstop, and that's what causes burnout, guys. You've got to have fun in this career, okay? You're playing junior golf one time. You're going to be a young guy one time in your life. Just go out and have a blast, okay? Now, listen, I'm not advocating to go out to like the North-South Junior in Pinehurst in a couple weeks and laugh at your competitor when they hit it in the woods. Remember, that's not what we're doing here. Troy and Jonathan were total best friends. They played college golf together. They were roommates. When they were done, I asked Jonathan about all this and about him laughing at him. And he says this. He said, "Josh, let me tell you something." Kind of puts his arm around me. I was like, "Okay." He says, "Some of the greatest things that God has given me are lifelong friendships that I have, and I found them in golf. Troy Beaver is one of those friendships. And this is, Josh, we've been rolling like this for years." But you know what the most important thing here is? Here's what's important. It wasn't that John was having fun with this, and it wasn't that I was either, although we were. It's important that Troy was having fun with this because it was Troy that had the bad shot. When we were finished up, I talked to Troy about this, and I asked him this. I was like, hey, man, him laughing at you while you were chunking a chip in the fringe, are you okay with that? He said, Josh, I would much rather these boys laugh and get me to get my mind off of it. That sure beats, dwelling on it for the next 3 and 4 holes. I would rather laugh about it and forget about it. That is a habit, guys. That is the second thing that I want you to learn in tonight's training session. You cannot stop negative things from happening to you when you're on the golf course. You can't stop negative things from happening to you in life. But you know what? You have 100% total control over your reaction to negative things that happen to you. You have 100% total control over your reaction to your own bad play. And I'm not talking about just having some bad things happen here, there, or around. What happens if things go south for like a month or 2 months, okay? Oh no, Josh, I haven't broken par in my last couple rounds, okay? I've got to go get a lesson. Stop thinking you're heading in the wrong direction the second that your golf game stalls out. Or when you have a string of tournaments where you know what, you can't break par in a single round. Just keep digging, man. That's how this works. If it gets a little tough, that's not bad. That is good. You're wanting to play golf in college. Okay, you guys are thinking about, some of y'all are thinking about giving pro golf a shot when you graduate. Each level requires more of you. And when you're not used to it, this could be very daunting. It can be very hard at first. But if it gets a little bit hard sometimes, that does not mean that you're heading in it's not bad that it gets hard. It probably means that you're heading in the right direction. Stop getting so down on yourself when you're practicing and playing and nothing is changing. Or if you hit a bad streak sometimes. It is a process, fellas. And you can be right in the middle of working on your game and in your process. And check this out. Sometimes there's increase. Sometimes there's flat. Sometimes there's decrease and you fall backwards a little bit. But you know what? That does not determine your success. What determines your success in this game is your ability to keep on keeping on with a positive mental attitude and proper expectations in your process. If you're not happy with where you are right now in your golf game, here's what. You're here in your golf game at this point in your life based on decisions of the past. Here's what's cool about that. If you're here based on decisions of the past, then you can get to where you want to go by starting to change and start making proper decisions right now that are going to impact your future 3 months from now, 6 months from now. You've got an opportunity that very few have this upcoming year. And listen, your freshman year of college, those of you that are going to college next year to play, that sets the tone for your entire college career. Your very first semester does. And for all of you seniors that are about to graduate and everything, you know when your freshman year in college starts right now. It starts developing these habits right now. And you can have another same old summer of golf, okay? Or you can eliminate some distractions. You can eliminate some negative thought processes when you have bad play. And you can start to find out what you're truly capable of this summer. I was having this conversation with one of my junior players here in North Carolina, and it was the other night. He wants to move on, but he's hesitant in putting in more work because he thinks that he'll look stupid. And he's already kind of plateaued over the past couple months where nothing has really changed. And so he said this. He said, Josh, I think I won't look very smart if I just keep doing more of the same. I said, what are you talking about being stupid? He said, well, there's this group of guys that play with us a lot. I was like, oh, okay, here it is. There's other people that's going to try and make you look stupid. He said, yeah, how'd you know? I was like, you're outworking everybody. You're making them feel uncomfortable. When you outperform other people, guess what? Sometimes they're not going to know how to take that. But you're not going to look stupid for putting in more work in your weekly practice schedule. Guess what you're going to look? You're going to look like you're persistent. And persistent people begin their success where everybody else quits. It's the type of mentality that you want to develop if you want to be a winner. Okay, this stuff that we're talking about tonight is what Drew Weaver was talking about to us on the Google Hangout session that we had. We talked about association on that when you surround yourself with great people, with people who are pouring into you, like your parents, like your swing instructors, myself, okay? Friends that want to see you succeed in golf, not friends that are going to make fun of you and try and hold you back or make fun of the next event or do you really have to go do this? Guys, they're not helping you get forward in life. Association is huge. When you take what a mentor gives you and you start growing and changing from the inside out on a daily basis, okay? Before I ever decided that I was going to become to play some level of pro golf or to start this training session, I was an entrepreneur first. And my secret was that I surrounded myself with the right people at a young age. And I surrounded myself with 5 entrepreneurs that radically changed my life. And you know what? Here's the deal, guys. This is important. They taught me truths about God and about building a career His way. They taught me the truth about how to be a good steward of the gifts that God had given me. And the truths that I have learned have set me free. And this didn't happen when I started seeing success. I didn't get set free when I opened up my own business and I started succeeding with that. Or when I became a scratch player in golf. I got set free when I found out that with God, all things are possible. I got set free when I learned that who created me. I got set free when I learned that every single struggle I faced in life carried with it a seed of equal or greater benefit. And I didn't learn this stuff when I was in high school. I didn't learn this from my friends because none of them had it, so they couldn't teach it to me. When I was 15, 16, 17 years old, you know what I was? I was surrounded by broken, average people who were damaged goods, and I was damaged goods in every single way. I wasn't created that way, but it was who I listened to. It was the people who I surrounded myself with. It's the dumb things that we all used to think about and talk about, and then that's who I became. But when I was 19 years old, I shook a multimillionaire's hand one time, and it changed the direction of my life. And there was something as right as rain about these people. And when I was 19 years old, I started getting set free. When I was 20 years old, I was getting set free. When I was 21 years old, I started getting set free. And I didn't see hardly any success at all on the outside, but I was getting set free on the inside. There's been times in my golf career where my golf game never grew and got better as fast as I wanted it to. But I did what I learned to do in business. I still practiced and I played, but I started reading a book like The Magic of Thinking Big. I would let the right people pour into me. And when I was working on my game and it wasn't changing any, I wouldn't care because I was on the inside. And what I found out in this process is that the outside always lines up with the inside. I went from being a 17 handicap player at 22 years old to becoming a scratch player, a 0 handicap player 4 years later. Tonight's audio training is not about me and my game, it's about yours. And it all starts about where you are right now. What kind of a vision do you have right now? And what better way to get this season of personal growth started off with this 5 audio bundle than to promise yourself that you're going to have the time of your life along the way. Just like those guys I was talking about, Drew Weaver, just like Al Dickens, Jonathan Deani did. When Drew Weaver and Al Dickens, they were right where you were at. They were about to take off to college. They were in junior golf. And you know what they did? They just decided, man, we're going to remember this stuff for the rest of our lives. And we're going to have some stories forever. And this is going to be the most fun experience that we've ever had. I mean, you know what? I talked to some guys in their junior career and they're like, man, I don't have a tournament for a while. I guess all I can do is practice for a week. Or, geez, I just had a short game lesson. Nothing came out of it. Oh, man, my dad showed me this audio training with Achievers Training System, whatever this is supposed to be about. And I'm like, man, you guys just don't get it. You got to understand how this stuff works. I don't mean your golf game, guys. I mean success. You got to learn to enjoy the process, man. You got to learn to start having fun that, you know what, this process is the dream. Hey, what you guys are doing right now, getting in a car, driving miles to tournaments and being a bunch of broke high school students when you're doing it, knowing that a better future is coming, that's what this is all about. Hey, creating the friendships that you guys are making is what it's all about. Enjoying the process, laughing about your mistakes. See, when you have a poor attitude, your mistakes will keep weighting you down. But when you have a rock star self-image like Drew Weaver has, when you have a jamming attitude, laughter will become your response to all of your failures. These guys who I've been training you on tonight, that are good examples of players that you want to become in your junior and college careers. Drew Weaver, Al Dickens IV. They learn to have a blast right where you're at. They learn how to have fun at this in their junior career and to pursue their games passionately, not trying to be perfect. They stopped worrying about failure so much. They knew that they were going to be doing a whole bunch of it, and their attitude was, we don't care if we're shooting under par or not regularly by the time we get to college. We're going to have the time of our lives. I wonder what direction your golf game will go if you made a real effort to start making some changes this summer and this season from the inside out, and you start letting go of your own mistakes and poor performances. I wonder who you could become if you learn truths about success and about life at an age when nobody else your age is really learning these things. Don't be surprised if your life starts to dramatically change by making some good decisions at your age. Don't be surprised if you look up at the leaderboard over the next 6 to 12 months and you see your last name creeping higher up that thing. I've enjoyed my time with all of you tonight. Look forward to the rest of these audio bundles with you guys. In the meantime, God bless you guys. I'll be seeing y'all on the fairways and tournaments in the future. Thanks a lot for your time.